Mr. David Ferguson, Senator Dodd, my dear friend, Ambassador Antonio Petriota. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to be here this morning in connection with this meeting on BRICS in the World Summit, a strategic and political view. It has been recalled by Senator Dodd already that the BRICS partnership started as a loose juxtaposition of very dispersed geographical countries on which were different in terms of growth rates, educated workforces, domestic markets, and natural resource endowments. But today, almost a decade and a half after the BRICS idea was coined, these countries have come together, as Antonio mentioned, in a very informal format, but nonetheless come together to see how to create a powerful impact not only among themselves but in the world in which they live. The BRICS have made a strong commitment to the long-term goal of the global economy through increased economic, financial, and trade cooperation, as has been referred to by the previous speakers. Most notably, the BRICS' role in stabilizing the world economy after the financial crisis of 2008 cannot be understated. And in that context, the desire of several of the BRICS countries, especially the countries which have contributed to the stabilization of the global economy, for greater representation in institutions dealing with global finance, such as the IMF, cannot be understated. Many of us in this room, of course, are aware that the Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF and the World Bank, were a direct consequence of the initiative taken after the 1st of January 1942 in Washington, D.C., when countries like Brazil, India, United States joined the other 20, altogether 26 allied countries to create these institutions of world governance. We did succeed with the United Nations, we succeeded with the IMF, the World Bank, and in 1995 we succeeded with creating the World Trade Organization. So in each one of these institutions, the BRICS, what you call the BRICS today, has played a role, and specifically because of the setting in which we are meeting, Brazil and India have played a role of founding members of these organizations. We have contributed intellectually to the way in which these institutions were conceptualized. They were conceptualized for a cooperative relationship so that the world after the ravages of the Second World War would be able to sustain international peace. And that is, I think, the vision which drives us even today. Both Brazil and India, for example, are countries which have so much of similarity in terms of the strategic engagement with the world, in which, as has been mentioned, we have contributed peacekeepers. Antonio is chairing the Peace Building Commission of the United Nations. Now, these are intellectual contributions which play a very significant role in terms of the way in which the BRICS engages with the world. Now, our own engagement, of course, as I speak for India, we emerged or re-emerged into the global economy in 1991 with the economic reforms, many of which you are very familiar with today. One of the issues that confronted us soon after we engaged on this path of task of economic reforms was on how do we compete in the global economy and how do we introduce competition inside our own economy. Inside the economy, Indian economy, we enacted through our parliament a Competition Act in 2002, and that has allowed our companies to compete without restricting their size or concentration of ownership. In the international economy, we have encouraged the increasing trade flows among BRICS nations so that we can enter into newer forms of economic and political coordination and also collectively face the common challenges that are present in the global economy. Monitoring and managing speculative capital flows is one of the challenging tasks that we have collectively faced. Maintaining a sustainable fiscal policy while incurring significant public expenditure to raise standards of living of large populations is also a task that we continually grapple with. Developing infrastructure, as Senator Dodd mentioned, at a pace that supports the growth of industry and the increasing aspirations of people is another challenge before us, the aspirations that are being tested in these elections that take place this year in several of the BRICS countries. And last but by no means least, there is a need for building credible institutions for sustained and economic growth. To address these objectives, there has been a continuous development of BRICS interlinkages which seek to create structures for cooperation at different levels and in various sectors. Two of them, which have been mentioned again by Senator Dodd, are the BRICS Development Bank and a contingency reserve arrangement. As India, which chaired the BRICS last year, passed on the baton to South Africa, we did so with a sense of satisfaction at the distance that we have covered in the course of our period at the helm. We believe that the year in which we chaired the BRICS activities witnessed a further strengthening of intra-BRICS cooperation and increased its global role and relevance. We were able to implement an ambitious action plan which had been adopted at the New Delhi summit in 2012. As part of this action plan, ministerial and official consultations intensified across a range of areas, and our coordination became very evident at the G20 participation. It has given us a stronger voice in articulating our shared concerns and has enabled companies and enterprises in BRICS countries to see opportunities for cooperation in an effort to maximize the challenges and maximize the opportunities that the global challenges have thrown up. One of the ideas that we first discussed at New Delhi in 2012 was to institutionalize a mechanism to recycle surplus savings into infrastructure investments in developing countries. Our finance ministers are currently engaged in developing this idea further. People-to-people contacts, exchanges among our think tanks, and engagement between our business communities are three very important aspects of BRICS cooperation. We have explored new areas of interaction, and I believe in the panel discussion which follows, our representatives will be able to give you concrete examples of how BRICS countries have collaborated in these various areas. Two things that are of importance to India in the BRICS context is the way in which investment flows can be maximized, and the second is the way in which technologies can be accessed. In both these areas, we have a belief that the BRICS countries themselves have the strength to carry forward greater initiatives in encouraging investment flows and have the capacity to increase their activities in research and innovation which lies behind technological progress. As we look to the future, there are several new areas that we are keen to focus upon. I think 5 areas are worth mentioning in this context. First, our foremost challenge is to respond to the persisting weaknesses in the global economy, the financial crisis overhang, and the inevitable long-term structural challenges of the post-2008 world. Recognizing that BRICS countries will remain key drivers of global economic growth, we should further sustain our growth by harnessing the vast opportunities for expanding trade and investment ties between ourselves. Each of us has unique sets of resources and strengths, and we should exploit our complementarities for mutual benefit. We should also seek increased cooperation in manufacturing and services sectors. Second, the external focus of our research and development cooperation tends to be on the developed world. It would be equally useful, though, to encourage collaboration between institutions in BRICS countries because our experiences and solutions will have relevance for each other, particularly in areas like energy, food security, education, healthcare, sustainable development, and information technology-enabled public services. Third, we should individually and collectively work to make economic development more broad-based and inclusive. This is not only a political imperative, but a pragmatic approach to make the global economy more sustainable and enhance political and social stability in vulnerable areas of the world. Fourth, we should work more cohesively in international forums to advance the agenda of sustained global economic recovery and promote a balanced outcome on issues such as trade, sustainable development, and climate change in a manner that protects our shared interests and those of the entire developing world. And fifth, we should work for a reform of global institutions of political and economic governance that reflects contemporary realities and equips them more effectively to deal with emerging challenges. As Antonio mentioned, the early reforms of the United Nations Security Council, which were mandated by all countries in 2005, and the reforms of the IMF are a priority for India and for our BRICS partners. In the context of our collective work at the United Nations in New York, we believe that the BRICS has an important role to play in bringing about these changes. The world today faces uncertainties, turbulence, and transition on an unprecedented scale, leading to multiple economic and security challenges for us. Terrorism, piracy, the emerging threats from cyberspace are important security concerns for us. It is incumbent upon us to use our collective voice and capacity to make effective and meaningful contributions to addressing these challenges. In conclusion, I would like to once again reaffirm the importance that my country, India, affirms to BRICS, not only for the benefit of our own population, but also for the world at large. Our conviction comes not only from our capacity, but also the manner in which, as I mentioned at the beginning, we have worked together in creating cooperative international institutions so that the international peace that we achieved at the end of the Second World War and that we desire to sustain can actually be sustained in the years to come. I'm sure that your discussions today will contribute to fleshing out some of these ideas that I've put before you, and I do look forward to receiving some result at the end of your discussions in a publication. Thank you very much.